How's it going, everyone? Reckless Yuki here, and what you guys are seeing on the screen now is a 4-box of the Xbox 360, Wii U, Xbox One, and PlayStation 4, and what I'll be showing you guys is a comparison of each system using Call of Duty Ghosts as a medium. What I'm doing on the screen now is adjusting the brightness settings, and what I did to do that was I made sure that the not visible and barely visible portion were the same level on my gaming monitor, and then I moved it to the right 3 clicks just to make it even so the barely portion was visible, and I did that to each console the same, just so that this is a control test, or at least the best control that I could give it. And right now what you're looking at is a loading screen of the campaign when you first started up, and I just thought this was something interesting to show because the Xbox 360 was the first to be done loading while it's playing this whole intro roll, and the next up will be the PlayStation 4, shortly followed by the Xbox One, and then the Wii U is down there still lagging behind. And I'm not going to wait for it. Going to some campaign footage here, and the point of this video is just to kind of, I don't know, just my best representation, or the best way I can show you guys the difference between each system, and to show if there really is a difference between each system when you're thinking of something like Call of Duty Ghosts. And I had to use Call of Duty Ghosts because it's one of the few games that is made for each system, so it's a good control to use when doing a comparison like this. So if you're not a Call of Duty Ghosts fan, then I'm very sorry that you're going to be looking at this, but there's not very many games I can choose that I'm personally interested in and that I could show and do this test with, so bear with me, please, if you actually did click on the video. But anyways, now just to touch up a little bit on the topic of controls, I want to reassure everyone that there was nothing I did in the video that you guys are seeing as far as the footage I captured from each system. Everything that you're seeing is raw footage. The only thing I did was when I adjusted the brightness at the very beginning, which I showed you guys on the screen at the very beginning on the video, and there was nothing I did as far as besides that. Everything I recorded with my Elgato Game Capture HD was, just set to default settings. There wasn't anything fancy going on. And also in Final Cut Pro, I didn't add anything as far as sharpness. I didn't change the contrast, brightness, or the shadows at all. Everything was as is as I imported it to Final Cut, just to chop everything up and sync it. And then I will be exporting it and then sending it to YouTube. So as far as any differences you see is like the richness of like the darks or the colors or this or that. That's how my game capture card, received all the information. So hopefully I can't express that enough, because I know it kind of looks a little bit different on the screen than at the very beginning. At the very beginning of the video, you probably saw that the Xbox One showed that scene, like that very beginning scene where the darks and the blacks were just the richest, and then kind of followed by the PlayStation 4 and Xbox 360, and then the Wii U was obviously the brightest of the four. But now if you're looking at the space scenes, it kind of seems that the PlayStation 4 is giving a richer picture than the Xbox One. And I'm not sure why that is. I definitely didn't rearrange any of the footage. I definitely, I kept everything intact as far as these large files, these 4 large files, when I positioned everything as far as the 4-boxing. And then that's how I basically made sure that I didn't mix anything up. So now you're kind of looking at the space, and the space seems, I don't know, to me personally, it looks a little bit richer on the PlayStation 4 than it does the Xbox One now. So not sure why that is. I can't really explain it, but that's how everything worked out. So before someone tries to accuse me as far as saying that I switched the footage around, or this, this video is invalid or something, this or that, I did absolutely nothing to change anything around, so I don't really have a definite explanation. I mean, you could even see now the outer edges of the, I guess, where you're supposed to look through the, like the spaceman helmet or whatever. You see the corners. The corners on the Xbox One are richer black than the PlayStation 4, but the space, like everything else within the screen of what you're seeing through the helmet, it looks a little bit richer on the PlayStation 4. At least to me personally it does. Now you guys might have your own opinions on it, and that's fine, but this is just how it looks to me. And this is also, while I'm doing this commentary, I'm looking at the picture unprocessed, or at least like a less processed than what you guys are viewing it. You guys are going to view this video after it's been processed by YouTube, so the compression is going to, I guess, kind of rob the beauty of the video a little bit. but you guys will still be able to hopefully see the differences that I'm speaking of, so I don't sound like a complete idiot. Now, as far as like comparing the systems though, graphics wise, the Xbox One and the Wii U, to me right now, they don't really look a whole lot different. And then when comparing the Xbox One and the PlayStation 4, that again doesn't look like there's not a whole lot of difference there. But then when you kind of, look at the Xbox 360 or the Xbox One, that's when you see the significant amount of difference. And I'm really hoping that that YouTube doesn't rob this away from the video, because then the video is just going to kind of suck. But I'm pretty confident that you'll definitely be able to see the differences that I'm talking about. Now, as my Call of Duty Ghosts campaign footage is about to wrap up, I'm going to make a decision as far as which of the 4 I personally would choose to play on if I could only, purchase one system, or if I only had access to one system, and I was solely going to focus my enjoyment of Call of Duty Ghosts with the offline campaign. And for me, that would be the PlayStation 4. To me, the PlayStation 4 looks the best out of all the systems, but when comparing the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One, it just slightly looks better than the Xbox One. And I'm not sure what else to say. To me, it just does, but I'm sure there's plenty of people who would, counter that and say that they think the Xbox One looks better than PlayStation 4. And if that's what others think, that's more than fine. But this is just all on personal opinions and preferences, and I was just expressing mine, so don't think that I'm trying to dog on the Xbox One at all, just based on the graphics alone as far as what I'm seeing. Now moving on to some quote-unquote multiplayer, what you guys are seeing on the screen is how fast each system is loading up the map when I do my own custom online game. And the Xbox 360 was the first to load up, which isn't surprising since it was the first one to load up the campaign. But then after that was the Wii U. Surprisingly enough, the Wii U was the second fastest, then the Xbox One, and then immediately after the Xbox One was the PlayStation 4. Now, as far as the PlayStation 4 being behind the Xbox One, I'm not sure why that was, but this map specifically is the only time that happens, whereas the other maps I'm going to be showing you guys, the PlayStation 4 loads up faster than the Xbox One, so I'm not sure how much that matters. Maybe there's just more things going on with this map specifically, but that's what I saw, so I'm not sure what to make of it. And right now, you're just kind of looking at me going around the map as far as me doing my own online custom game, just so that I could walk around slowly at my own pace, just so I could kind of make sure that I do a good representation of how each system looks. And right now on the Xbox 360 solo screen here, you see the shadows on the wall look very jagged until I got right close to them. Little things like that I notice when I go online in the Xbox version, whereas the other versions do a decent job as far as smoothing things out before it gets that bad. Now, the Wii U doesn't look, that much better, but it does look a little bit better to me as far as what I'm seeing on the screen. And then you'll see a noticeable difference as far as the Xbox One and the PlayStation 4, how they handle shadows. Now, not only shadows are different with the Xbox One and the PlayStation 4 when you're looking at multiplayer maps, as far as for the most part, as far as how things are structured, this or that, those aren't really that different as far as this is a shadow, this is a box, this is a crate, this is a wooden panel on the right side, like that. Those are basically all the same, but the things I've really kind of caught my eye looking at this as far as all the footage, looking back at them, is that just little things that the Xbox One and the PlayStation 4 are capable of, it kind of makes it a little bit different as far as if you're looking at the flooring, at certain parts of the floor where things need to be shiny, you're able to really see a good reflection of it, as if when you look down at the floor, you can almost see the walls and stuff being reflected from the floor on the next gen systems, whereas the Xbox 360 and the Wii U don't really do a good job as far as showing that. And then another thing that I noticed that is slightly different is coming up here. If you look at the floor, just the shadows and stuff there. See, on the Xbox 360 and the Wii U, the shadows were very defined right where I was walking over, whereas on the Xbox One and the PlayStation 4, it wasn't hardline shadows. It was just kind of like a glossy effect that when you're walking over this kind of area, it did that sort of a thing. So not once again, it's not that huge of a difference to play multiplayer on the next-gen systems compared to the old ones, because really you're just running around and you're not doing a whole lot as far as taking in the scenery or anything like that. But one thing though is, I guess if you're running around and things start becoming jagged and blurry, the Xbox, like the Xbox One and the PlayStation 4 did a better job as far as keeping everything sharp and nice. So when you kind of run a corner and you kind of glancing at the screen in different parts, trying to move your eyes about, you will be less likely to overlook a camper or someone like kind of a little bit more in the distance. Like they won't be so much as like almost like a furry bush. They will actually be a defined human being on the next gen consoles, whereas the Xbox 360 and the Wii U, I'm not sure how many times I freaking like went over something and thought it was an old one, and to find out later that, you know, when they shot me in the back, it was a camper. So I guess you just take however you want it as far as like what you like as far as when you're playing this game. Now, one thing to notice about the next-gen systems, you can't really go off of the graphic details alone as far as when you're choosing one system or another. You really have to focus on how well they play and who you want to play against, because for me personally, when I'm thinking of the Xbox 360 and the PlayStation 3, when I was playing Modern Warfare 3 and I guess any Call of Duty, it's pretty much like a common thought that the Xbox 360 players are usually a tougher class than the PlayStation 3. And then so a lot of the pros played on the Xbox because Call of Duty was made for the Xbox, so it played a little bit better, so that's what people liked. Whereas more casual gamers seem to play on the PlayStation 3. Now, I'm not dogging the Xbox 360 or the PlayStation 3 at all. I'm just stating what I've observed and what I heard from others. So looking at the next-gen systems between the Xbox 360 and the PlayStation 4, where are the strong players going to be moving to? Because to me personally, once again, like I said, the PlayStation 4 to me looks a little better than the Xbox One, but then a lot of people are really, are really a fan of the idea that the Xbox One is having dedicated servers, so it should play better on the Xbox One compared to the PlayStation 4. So where are those real hardcore players going to be? Because that could really alter how you're going to play this game, and also where you'd want to play. Because if you are not a very skilled player, are you going to want to constantly put up against more skilled players who will just beat on you constantly, or do you want to be playing against people who aren't the serious type, so that they could be casual and you could be casual, and then you all like be around 1 no kill death ratio, all happy hunky dory? I don't know. I'm just rambling on about online multiplayer just to kind of fill up the time as we look at the differences as far as the system, because there is a lot of footage I captured here, and I wanted to make sure that I gave a good representation of how each system looks. So I'm not gonna just do a few highlights or a few scenes and then call it a done deal. I want to make sure that when I made this video, it was decently in-depth as far as how much footage I presented to you guys, so anyone can make their own, own real determination if they're holding off on the next-gen consoles, or if people, are second-guessing whether or not they should go to the next-gen, or if they're kind of having, disputes as far as what system looks better to them. Again, how the system looks and what you prefer is all on you. All I'm doing with this video is just giving you guys a tool to use to make your own decisions as far as what you would rather play on. And as far as my commentary and babble and this and that, I'm just kind of expressing my own opinions to you guys as far as why I personally prefer. Now, when I'm thinking of online multiplayer for me right now, it's kind of hard to pick one system or this or that, because when I play Call of Duty Ghosts, or at least Call of Duty in general, I play with Control Freaks, and as it stands right now, Control Freaks hasn't been released for the Xbox One. Now, with the old Control Freaks that worked on the PlayStation 3 and the Xbox 360, those can be used with the PlayStation 4, so I've been focusing more on the PlayStation 4. But then with the Xbox One, it's really hard to control a thumbstick after you've been using a Control Freak for over a year. So I don't really like to go on the Xbox One, because then I usually can't really aim as well as I can on the PlayStation 4. So it hinders my abilities to play well. So I would like to stick to the PlayStation 4 as of right now. But in the future, I will probably do another video to follow up this as far as what I prefer to play on as far as just gameplay, as far as me running around trying to kill people to get a good score. Which system would I personally prefer? And one thing I'm kind of interested, or I'm hoping for, with the Xbox One release of their own Control Freaks is maybe finally they will be able to fit on the Wii U, because I was kind of looking at the Wii U Pro remote or Pro controller, comparing that to the Xbox One's controller, and they both share the same size analog sticks, or at least when I did a rough measurement, they were very, very similar. So I'm hoping when my Xbox One control freaks come in, I could put those on the Wii U's Pro controller, and I'll be able to actually run around and control the Wii U decently well. And then maybe I could give a good representation as far as what I feel as far as the 4 consoles, who I personally think the tougher players are. So that will definitely be a follow-up video in the future if you guys would be interested in it. I'm interested in it, so I'll probably be doing it regardless of the feedback I get. So if you are interested in it, there's no real need to tell me. I'll probably do it eventually once I do get a good feel as far as what I prefer. Probably be sometime before Christmas, so there will be less likely a big flood of Christmas noobs, so I could give a good representation, or at least like when I play, I'll get a good feel as far as the hardcore people who, already bought the game and have been playing it, not the people that have to wait until after Christmas. Well, I think this about wraps up the video. I can't really think of anything else to say as of now as far as anything I could add. I've already been talking for over 15 minutes, almost 16 minutes now. And so I think I provided enough footage for anyone to make their own determination as far as what system they prefer, or to them what system they think looks best. So if you've been following me up to this point now, I really do appreciate it, and it shows that you're really interested in as far as how these next-gen systems look, and also it shows that you don't find my voice too frustrating or too annoying, so that's also a good thing, and I appreciate it. Anyways, that's it from me. Let me know in the comments what you guys prefer, if there's any real difference that you guys notice between the Xbox 360 or the Wii U, and then again also between the Xbox One and the PlayStation 4. Those are the ones I really am interested to see if you guys are able to tell, because for me it's a little bit tough even with this, but then after the processing, like I said again with YouTube and what they're gonna do, it's interesting to see what you guys think. Now, as far as between the jump between the next gen and the previous gen, I agree that there is a huge difference, and anyone will be able to see that. But what I'm more interested in is, again, like, what do you guys prefer? Do you guys prefer the Xbox One or the Wii U? And then do you guys prefer the Xbox... I'm sorry, do you guys prefer the Xbox 360 and the Wii U? Or do you guys prefer the Xbox One and the PlayStation 4? So that is my question. That is what I would really like to see in the comments. And if this is anything like my previous video, I'm sure you guys are going to let me know. And looking at that porter for the 4th time now is making me thirsty. And I'm going to go grab a beer. Have a good one, guys.